Good afternoon and welcome. Today marks an important milestone for the University of Cincinnati and for the Department of Public Safety as we announce our new Chief of Police and Assistant Chief of Police. I want to thank my colleague Greg Baker and the other members of the search committee here for their time and personal investment in the pursuit of these critical hires for the university. As we embarked on our search, I challenged Greg Baker and the search committee to find the best of the best. Two individuals that are uniquely qualified to lead our police department through immense change and transform it into a national leader for urban campus policing. A national search has been conducted and completed, and it turns out that the best of the best was right here in Cincinnati. Please join me in welcoming our new police chief, Tony Carter, and our new assistant police chief, Maris Herold, to the Bearcat family.
Thank you. Congratulations. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Robin Engel, and I'm the Vice President for Safety and Reform here at the University of Cincinnati. And I think it was about 10 months ago that President Ono asked me if I would lead the efforts to reform the University of Cincinnati Police Department. And when I took on that job, I thought, what we really need here is vision. What would reform look like for this agency? But lasting reform requires not just the vision, but the leadership to implement that vision. So my vision, and now our shared vision for the University of Cincinnati Police Department, is first to be a national leader in urban campus policing. But second, we also want to be a model for the country on voluntary reform efforts. What we see happening across the country right now is mandatory reform, is court-ordered reform, Department of Justice and consent decrees. But here at the University of Cincinnati, we're building something different. We're voluntarily looking inside our agency and finding ways to be better. And third for our vision is to translate this reform into continuous innovation over time. It's not enough just to make those changes. We have to continue to look to the future for how those changes in that larger vision will become a part of the fabric of our agency and our university. I knew that to achieve this vision, leadership at the key positions throughout the organization would be critical. In fact, they say that leadership is actually defined by the capacity to translate vision into reality. And so I've asked this leadership team to take that vision and translate it into reality. We began with a leadership team that included my dear colleagues, Jim Whalen, hired as the Director of Public Safety, and Mr. S. Gregory Baker, Director of Police Community Relations. And from there, these individuals brought a tremendous amount of expertise in policing, community engagement, and hands-on experience in leading reform efforts. Today, we have added even more experience, a wealth of experience in reform, with the addition of Anthony Carter as our Chief of Police and Maris Herold as our Assistant Chief, both of whom assisted in the reform efforts in our city in the past and will do so in the future right here at the university. But I must confess, President Ono, I have one hesitation. I'm afraid to say they are both graduates of Xavier. I don't know how this is going to fare. Yeah, do you want the hats back? I don't know how this is going to fare with our crosstown shootout, but I guarantee that the other 364 days will be in good shape. So it's with great pride and optimism that I present to you today the new UC Police Department leadership team. These are the leaders who are going to help guide the next generation of men and women at the UCPD to even greater heights. This is the team that will set the path to become national leaders in urban campus policing, a model for voluntary reform, and the standard for translating reform into continuous innovation over time. It is a great day to be a Bearcat. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am S. Gregory Baker. I'm the Director of Police Community Relations for the University of Cincinnati. Almost had a lapse there. And as Dr. Ono stated, I was given the privilege and the honor of leading a very fine search committee to find UC's new leaders, and some of the members are here today. Our first step was to develop a very inclusive process. So when we looked at structuring the search committee, we wanted to include individuals, representatives that had the most direct impact of UCPD. And so we selected individuals from the student body, from faculty, staff, and we had individuals that are the community members of the UC Safety and Reform Community Advisory Council, and they're also here today. Secondly, we've sought to input from our diverse communities in and around UC to identify what are those ideal attributes that we wanted to have in our leadership team. So across the board, all facets of the community all agreed that we were looking for the same type of characteristics: strong leaders that could implement organizational change, individuals that had experience in working in urban environments and had the ability to engage diverse communities. We also were looking for persons that had skills and proven ability to rebuild trust, as well as individuals that were committed to evidence-based policing practices as well as best practices. It was a tall order to fill within a very short period of time, and I'm looking at my boss and rolling my eyes. Very short period of time. Therefore, I want to thank all the members of the search committee that are here today for lending their time and expertise in this process. Our national search for both positions garnered over 70 applications. And I want to point out that of the persons that identified or disclosed their race and sex on the application, over 50% of those individuals were underrepresented persons. So that speaks volumes to the recruitment effort that we really wanted to develop a diverse pool of highly qualified applicants. So we took that 70 and we created a short list of 11 individuals that we brought in for Skype interviews. One person withdrew. So we took those individuals through a series of questions to try to narrow it down to 5. And of that 5, one individual also withdrew, which made it easier for us. So we came up with really what was the cream of the crop, the 4 individuals that we actually brought on campus for face-to-face interviews over 2 days. And as they described it, the process was very rigorous, but we wanted to really put these individuals to the test. And as it turned out, as the process unfolded, 2 individuals clearly distinguished themselves head over shoulders from the rest. And so we have today our new chief and assistant chief, Tony Carter and Maris Herold.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. I shall be brief. My name is James Whalen. I'm the Director of Public Safety here at the university, and I get the privilege of making a few comments about our new leadership team and then turning the microphone over to them and letting them have a few words as well. Tony Carter is the new police chief at the University of Cincinnati Police Department. Tony comes to us directly from the Federal Reserve Bank. He's been the chief there for the last 4 years. Prior to that, he retired from the Cincinnati Police Department, where we worked together for many years. Brings a very strong tradition of leadership. He's been tasked with large responsibilities, small responsibilities, the business side of the business, you name it. There's an experience base there, and Tony brings all that to us, and I look very much forward to his leadership here at the University of Cincinnati Police Department. The assistant police chief here is Maris Herold. Maris Herold comes to us from the Cincinnati Police Department, and where she is retiring as a captain. Again, decades of police leadership, growing responsibilities, outstanding reputation in the field, a nationally, if not world-renowned speaker and expert on problem solving and smart policing, and she brings all those skills here with her. These folks have tremendous reputations, as I mentioned, in leadership and law enforcement, and they represent a great step forward for our agency as we move forward. So with that, let me turn the podium over to Tony Carter for a few comments.
Good afternoon. First, let me say, our process of elimination, I'm Tony Carter, and I am distinctly proud to take over as the police chief here at UC. Lifelong resident, and like Jimmy, Robin, Greg, they've already stated, I had a career that put me through many of the things that we are looking to establish and embark on here at the university. And I truly believe that this team, Maris and I have worked together for years too, this team can get that accomplished. There are a few things that the foundation of, during my tenure, that you can expect from me, and I said this to the groups. We are going to be engaged. We're going to network. We're going to forge partnerships. We're going to be accountable. And that's my job as the chief, is to be the person that you hold most accountable. And you can expect that from us. This is a great department. If it wasn't, I wouldn't have put in for it. The years I spent on Cincinnati PD gave me the base and the foundation that I needed in order to know and understand the community and community needs. And I hope to bring those skill sets here. I thought I could bring those skill sets here in an environment where they'd be welcome, in an environment where I thought they could flourish, and I stand by that. But you will see that the University of Cincinnati Police Department will be the model. We'll be the place that for years to come, not only in law enforcement, whether it's urban or campus policing that we're talked about, but also graduates and faculty will want to look back and say, those are our officers. So with that, thank you all.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. I just want to thank the President. I really do believe that this is the best executive team. Dr. Engel, you know that I respect you. Mr. Baker, I've worked with you for years. Director Whalen, Chief, I've worked with all these people for years. There's little doubt in my mind that we'll accomplish great things at UC. It's an honor for me to be a part of this team, and I just look forward to working with the student body, the President, the executive team, the community, and I just think we're going to do great things. And you can be assured I'm a Bearcat through and through. So thank you.
Thank you. We'd like to open it up to any questions that you might have from our leadership team.
The idea is very clear from the transition from the older administration where we had the no-fly zone kind of policing on campus. What's going to be the policy, Chief Carter, on off-campus, on-campus engagement, as you called it, is one of your top priorities?
It is. We're going to be visible. There's no question about that. And when I say visible, our visibility is one where we want to facilitate this environment. It's an educational environment. We're not urban police officers. There's a difference in those strategies. Okay, our strategy here is to be customer friendly. We want to be prepared should we need to be prepared. We want to provide an environment that's safe and comfortable for everybody. Right? And that ultimately is where we will get to.
How much of his selection, how much of the selection process, anyone, was tied to the fact that you do have the experience, both of you, Chief and Chief, do have the experience in the urban policing, went through the collaborative, do have the CPOC experience, community problem-oriented policing?
And that's exactly right, Tom. We were looking for proven leaders, individuals that were change agents. I believe, as Tony said, individuals that are drawn to the challenge, not repelled by it. Individuals that had the ability to build bridges between campus law enforcement, and the communities, the multiple diverse communities within UC. I'm not only just talking about black and white, but we have multiple communities on campus as well as the external customers that we have off campus. So there's a number of different attributes that these individuals, and have been proven, tested, gone through organizational change, that they bring as assets to the UC Police Department.
Professionals. That's how we conduct ourselves, engaging. That's the expectation. And I believe that is occurring now. We are going to be visible. We're going to be engaging. We're going to be respectful. We want to be a part of this campus, an active part of the campus. And like I said, part of what we do is preparation. We're prepared for things that could occur. But other than that, we don't want to interrupt any processes that go on either on campus or in the community. We want to be engaged partners.
How do you see your relationship with the Cincinnati Police Department and co-policing, if you will?
Well, I can say this. When I retired from Cincinnati PD 4 years ago, and when I left there, I had strong relationships. Over the 4 years, I've maintained those relationships. The Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland, which I'm the chief of, is in downtown Cincinnati. So I needed to maintain those relationships. We'll continue those. Having an assistant chief, Maris, on this leadership team, and Jim Whalen, Robin, and Greg Baker, those relationships are still there. So they're extremely important that we maintain them, and we will. I have a personal relationship with the chief. Chief Isaac and I, we kind of came up through the ranks together, and he surpassed me, but I have those, yeah, until today. But those relationships will continue because I know they're important to what it is that we need to do, right? We're the on-campus, they're the off-campus. We have some worlds that will mix and mingle. We'll work through those. We'll have an understanding of whose responsibilities are primary where and how we can assist each other in getting things accomplished.
Other questions? Over here, please.
I said this throughout my the interview process. Trust starts with communication. In order for us to build trust, we first have to have a level of some communication that gets us to a level of understanding. Understanding doesn't mean agreement. Understanding just means I see your point of view, you see mine. Now let's see if we can agree or reach consensus. Being the visible person, backing up my actions or my words with my actions, and not only that, but heartfelt actions, okay? That's where you start to rebuild trust. Even though we may disagree, knowing where my position is and understanding how I will respond, to me, that helps to build trust. The engagement piece is very important. I understood what the reform efforts, what was wanted here. I understood what the university was looking for. I understood what Robin, Mr. Baker, Greg Baker, and Jim Whalen were looking for. I understood what President Ono was looking for. I asked those questions. Those were some of the first questions I asked. So in asking those questions, like I said, I'm a lifelong resident here. I've spent time on the football field in way back when. And wanting to be a part of that reform in the place that I've dripped blood and sweat was the driving motivation. And knowing and believing that I could be a part of a team that could accomplish that, to me, was extremely important. And I wanted to be actively involved and engaged in that because I thought I had some abilities that I could bring to the table and share. It is. Prevention, you look at it from a training standpoint, duties and responsibilities. I can't sit here and tell you that we will prevent. I'll tell you that we will look at a multitude of circumstances that all law enforcement officers are confronted with on a daily basis. And we will provide training and supervision for our officers to help them mitigate through those processes where we reduce any type of physical conflict. That's the best that we can provide. Again, it's training and leadership, training and supervision.
And I'll just add to that, we're fortunate to have some of our members of our Community Advisory Council that are here in the audience today. Our Community Advisory Council, chaired by the Honorable Judge West from the Hamilton Court of Common Pleas, that advisory group has now been in existence since October. And so we work hand in hand with them. They were involved as members on our search committee. They've been involved all throughout our efforts. And this is a way for us to help bounce these ideas off one another, understand what the community needs are, and really help propel us forward. So I'd really like to just give a shout out to those community members that have donated so much of their time already and that will be requesting that they continue to donate that time for such an important endeavor.